Welcome back to Proud Masculine. So today's video is going to be about understanding attraction in your relationship and what that looks like. So we'll jump right in. And so, if you go back and look at the previous videos and what it looks like when you've taken the time to do the necessary work to put yourself back in a position after a breakup, of course, is what I'm referring to. Some time has passed, you've actually done the work necessary to level up and put yourself in a better position, working towards achieving and becoming the highest and fulfilling your highest potential, I guess you could say. And, you've done all the necessary things, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and, you're in a good place. And you're checking all these boxes daily. You're doing these things to accomplish that version of yourself. And at a certain point in time, you do meet somebody else that you're absolutely just crazy about, that you fall for, they fall for you. It's the beginning of the relationship. Everything is great. Sex is off the charts, frequent connections, high and deep. The conversations are you can't get enough of each other. And, what a normal beginning of a relationship looks like. The only difference now is you're in a better position and you're coming together, at least on your end, a completed person. There's one extremely important part of a relationship is entering into a relationship with understanding that you're already complete. Your life is complete. You are a complete person. And having a woman into your life is a compliment to that. It's like the cherry on top. It's not like everything's going good, but if I had this person, it would be complete. That's not it. You're already complete. And it's important that you're in that position and that you attract someone in that same position whose life is complete and that you're a complement to each other's lives. It's in addition and a value added. As romantic as it sounds, you complete me and all this is not, it's not very attractive nor is it sustainable. It just means that's codependency. It's a little fun at first and exciting and sweet. It gets old, and nobody wants to be the missing piece, of your life. And if you think about it, and as time goes by, that just gets weird. Anyhow, so you've done all these great things and taken all these great steps and done the hard work necessary. And things are going great. You meet somebody, you're going through the relationship. And it's important to have an awareness and an understanding, at least a very fundamental understanding of what attraction looks like in a relationship long term, over the long term, for many, many, many years. And here's what you need to understand is attraction rises and falls. It ebbs and flows, rises and falls. It's not a steady, high attraction all the time. And here's some of the things that contribute to that is, one is you just become used to each other's company. And for a lack of better words, I'll call it boring. Especially if you get set into a routine, you're doing the same things over and over again, and you just kind of loses excitement. And this is the importance of, this is why in previous videos I talk about the courtship. You never finish dating. From the day you meet her to the day y'all part, you're dating. And you have to treat it as such. That's very important. And because at the end of the day, love is about fun. Love is about excitement. It's enjoyment. It's playful. It's not, it doesn't, and, introducing these things is what leads to the deeper connection and the romance and stuff. But this is what love is. And it's about keeping it new and fun and exciting. And it can be, after you've done so much together, it can seem like a little bit of a task, but it's really not. If you give yourself and you're present in the moment, and you're present with the person, there's usually things you can think of that you could do to keep things fun and interesting, especially as you get to know the person more. You know what pushes their buttons, you know what makes them tick. There are things and there are options. And things you could do to keep the relationship fun. And that's very important. So that's one reason. The second reason is a change in behavior. So I'll give you an example that you've done all the right things leading up to meeting this person. And you've fallen out head over heels and you have a productive life. You maintain your mental fitness, spiritual fitness, physical fitness. Financially, you're taking the steps necessary. You're branching out. You are creating a better life for yourself. You're still going through the motions, and things get busy, and that happens. It happens like that, especially when you go after an endeavor such as opening your own business or having multiple little businesses and streams of income that you have to tend to. And then through the beginning of that, in the process, it can be taxing. It takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of focus, a lot of attention. So, and what happens is you start to burn the candle at both ends. I know myself personally, I will take on whatever's in front of me. And, people like that have the tendency to just kind of overload their life a little bit. And, and it's not abnormal to have times in life where things get busy, and there's just a lot of things you have to attend to. There's certain phases of life that bring you into that. You just have to do it like that, and there's no other way around it. But here's what happens is you get so caught up, you get so busy, in the day-to-day, like you wake up busy all the way through the day to the night, you're busy. And certain things start to get neglected, things you do to keep yourself emotionally healthy, mentally healthy and stable. Even physically, these things begin to inadvertently take a backseat to what's on your plate at the moment, and that's dealing with the day-to-day. And look, when you introduce stress into a situation, stress, and what will happen is, and this is why it's so important to stay aware and really make times at the end of your day to find a time to meditate, keep in touch with keep spiritual fitness, make time to work out, exercise, do your combat sport, your martial art, whatever it may be. Do the reading that keeps you on track, that keeps you plugged in, or have those conversations. Because what will happen is, over time, you start to neglect those things a little bit, or you put them off, thinking, I'm busy now, I'll get to it later. And you begin to, and then when that stress is introduced, you start to wear yourself down and your resistance is down. So you start doing things and thinking things and saying things that are a little out of character. And so that, you become stressed, you're a little more keyed up and wired up, you're a little more reactive, or a lot more reactive than you typically would be. You start doing and saying things and acting a certain way that's out of character. That's not exactly attractive. Hence, there's a loss of attraction, there's a dip. And it's a buildup of frustration because the things that you're normally doing, the conversations you would normally have, the things you would normally do are not getting done. And in your mind, well, I'm doing all these great productive things, why does it seem to be getting more difficult? Well, the answer is you're really just overloading yourself. You have too much on your plate. And without even noticing, you become more tense, more reactive, more emotional reactive. And I'm here to tell you there's nothing more unattractive than emotionally reactive. And you've heard in my previous videos about being the mountain. And look, it happens. It's gonna happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. But the important thing is that you have an awareness and you can catch it before it gets too bad. So you can hit the brakes, maybe step back and look at, okay, I'm starting to think some things that I normally wouldn't think. It's an abnormal train of thought, or reacting out of character abnormally, emotionally reactive, rather than calm, collected, centered. It happens, and that causes a loss of attraction. And therefore, in those moments, the attraction drops. And that's just, look. There's no certainty. There's no definites there. Things like this are going to come up in a relationship. And another example is just, life happens sometimes. Sometimes it's just parts of life. And this attraction thing goes both ways. It goes both ways. Attraction rises, attraction falls. Attraction rises. And the message here is to have the awareness, and that there will be times when the attraction drops. And in those moments, not to react to that and start trying to overdo or overact or take this knee-jerk reaction to it. And the most productive thing you could do in these moments, once you have this realization, like, okay, you start noticing the subtle changes in behavior, and even like the language and the demeanor, the overall vibe kind of gets a little tense and sticky. So, and that usually creeps up on you. That's usually happening as it's going on. It comes along subtly. You don't even notice it because you're so caught up. But then there's going to be a light bulb moment where you're like, okay, something's different. Something is markedly different in the dynamic. And that's the time to detach emotionally and assess. And, and run through, the last couple weeks, what's been going on, what's changed, where am I mentally, what am I doing, what am I saying? And you can kind of, take an assessment of how things have been on your end lately and see maybe what's the causes. And so that's it. I mean, it's perfectly natural to run into these things. It's perfectly natural to have ebbs and flows and attraction. That's not abnormal. The important thing is the way you handle it, the way you work through it. Not to just ignore it, say, that happens, and keep doing the same shit. It's being able to take an honest assessment of your behavior and yourself, being able to sit and reflect a minute to see what could be contributing to that, especially if it's a relationship where things typically are. The dynamic typically is high attraction, a lot of affection, a lot of sex, good sex, a lot of kind words exchanged and encouragement and excitement, and the enthusiasm that's displayed when you're together and when you get to see each other. And if that's the default dynamic and things begin to go south a little bit, that's a clear indicator that something's off. And it's not the time to just jump in and react, because what typically happens there is you've already put yourself in a position where you're behaving unattractive. There's something you're doing and saying and acting a certain way that is causing that. And the last thing you want to do is get more reactive, and intensify the reactivity of what you're already doing. And because all of a sudden there's this sense of urgency, like, oh shit, I got to do something. I got to fix this. I got to jump in immediately. Then you you'll overcompensate. You'll way overshoot and just make things worse. And the right thing to do in that situation, the time that realization comes, is to detach, emotionally detach, and take an honest appraisal of what's been going on, how's it been going on. Kind of look back and see when the shift happened. And you can really honestly look at yourself and see where you've been falling short. Because I know it's easy to blame. It's easy to jump into the blame mode and want to peg the other person as doing something wrong. That's not going to fix anything. And it's not going to make the situation better. Matter of fact, it'll just inflame what's already kind of flared up. And look, if you need my help with this, proudmasculine.com. I'll put the link in the description. You can also just DM me on Instagram @proudmasculine. And I'll link the website, email, Instagram, everything in the description below. So, and look, don't panic. Don't react. Don't think the right thing to do in these moments is to go hard charging into it, trying to explain and defend and be logical and, clean up and, make it right. So just take the time, breathe, step back, revisit the things that you're doing that work so well, and see where you're lacking. See what you haven't been doing that's led to this. And it's okay. It's okay. It's not. It's no need to panic. This is a perfectly natural occurrence in every relationship. I don't care how perfect it looks on the outside. You never judge another couple's. Never compare their outside to your inside, because everybody's going to put on their best front. Outdoors. It's behind the scenes where the real shit is. And I promise you, 100%, everybody goes through this. The man side and the woman side. And I'm here to tell you the proper way to go about it. Emotionally detach, appraise, and fix. Then when things are calm and you in your right state, you're recentered, you're back to doing these things that work so well for you, that caused you to be so attractive, that led to you being so attractive to begin with. You get back to doing those things. And when the atmosphere is calm and healthy again, and you've got a calm, cool head, and you're centered again, then there'll be space and time and energy will be right to have that conversation. And, you're not alone. And this happens. It does. And it's just a part of a relationship. You get to know somebody so well, you're spending day in and day out with them. It's inevitable that at some point there's going to be a glitch. And it's how you go about going through that process. Is it going to be healthy, loving, and mature, or reactive, argumentative, combative, competitive? That's not going to solve anything. And so good. I hope you enjoyed the video, and like I said, I'll link the website, Instagram, email in the description below. And I've also added a donate button, so if what I said in this video you found helpful or any other videos, please donate to help the channel. Thank you. I'll see you on the next one.